Hey guys, hope you've been well. Today we're going to be talking about my get home bag. I'll put text down here that'll say when the actual bag stuff starts. But first I'm going to talk a little bit about, like my life and the reason for my get home bag and some things to consider and all that stuff. So if you're just concerned about the bag, what's in it, I'll put that down here somewhere and I'll get to that soon. So it's been a while since I made a video, and it may be time between videos. I got stuff going on in my life, like a lot of you guys probably know. Thanks for your prayers, thanks for your thoughts. A lot of you have sent me emails, like praying for me and stuff, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. So kind of unexpected to get those emails, but they're nice getting them, so I appreciate it. You don't have to send me them. I don't need them, but I appreciate them. So I've been investing in myself, in my videos. I got this like 3-axis gimbal for filming on my cell phone, so the videos will be a little smoother and less shaky. So we'll see how good that works. And if you guys follow my Instagram, sorry, I gotta turn this thing off because it's going crazy. If you guys follow my Instagram, you may have seen it. But if you don't follow my Instagram, go follow me on Instagram. I post photos every once in a while. This is a drone. This is a DJI Mavic Pro. I bought this thing. I'm not a drone guy. I don't get these things for free. So I bought this thing, and it's cool if you haven't seen it. It's kind of it's a 4K, nice, full-fledged quality drone that folds up super small and then unfolds like this. So I honestly haven't had much time to play with it, but I will in the coming weeks and months, and hopefully we'll be getting some footage and stuff, some cool video shots with this guy. So just so you know, my channel's not dead, and I'll be posting videos in the future. So let's get to talking about get home bags a little bit. So here it is. Some of you guys have seen it. It's a little bigger than my old bag. It's a SOG Prophet 33 liter, so it's not a giant bag, but it's not a tiny bag. And I mainly got it because I moved to the mountains, like you guys know, and I'm a little further from my house when I'm at the office, when I'm at kind of the furthest place I will be. So I wanted a little bigger bag so I could hold more water and more gear, and it has hip straps, and it's more like a backpacking backpack. So this is what I chose to go to. Right now it has an AR pistol attached to it. Granted, this may not always be the case. I may not always choose to grab my AR pistol and toss it on my bag, but by default it's there, and if the situation deems it necessary, I can bring it along. If not, I can keep it locked in my truck. So yeah, this isn't a bug out bag. I have no plans to bug out with this bag. It's just to get me from whatever destination it is when I have to leave my car to walk home. And that's what this bag's for.
All right, so I keep my get home bag back here in a diamond bed truck cover. I have a review on this if you're curious. It's awesome. And it's back here. So here's my bag with my AR, and then under here I have 330 round AR mags in just like a gallon Ziploc bag. So storing your gun, get home bag in your car or truck, that's kind of, it's a personal decision depending on how secure your storage is, how secure your parking area is. I'm not really concerned about my car getting broken into anywhere that I live or work or travel to. But if I was, still, this is a pretty secure solution for me. So that's just kind of personal preference. Obviously, I don't want to put guns out on the street and make it easy to steal. So it's kind of up to you how you want to approach that. So there are also some items in my truck, like this is more like my trauma-centric first aid kit, has tourniquet and all that stuff, as well as a little glass breaker seatbelt cutter that just kind of pulls off of here. So this is an item that I could have a whole separate one in my get home bag if I wanted to, or I could just keep one here and transfer it to my get home bag if I need to. This is a handy little item, I think, and this obviously is handy. The first aid, I have a first aid kit in my get home bag all the time, but it's not really trauma centric like this one is. It's kind of more boo-boo and little stuff. So for me, I have one, and I would transfer this to my bag, and there's gonna be a lot of people that disagree with that because they're like, oh, a bag, you just need to grab it and go, and it needs to be super fast. And yeah, I agree with that, but I can't really realistically imagine a scenario where I don't have 1 extra minute to grab a couple things and put them in my bag. You can disagree with me on that, and that's cool, and I don't necessarily 100% agree with myself. Like, if I could have two, one in my bag, one in here, and I just never need to touch that, that's cool. But you know, some people might not be able to afford 2 trauma kits, or it might not be worth it for them. So whatever, this is kind of my thought. And what I'm gonna add that I don't have right now is just a list. I'm gonna print out or write out just a little list of like 5 items that I keep in my car that I might wanna transfer to my get home bag. This is the one that I probably almost absolutely will. And then there's some other items I'll go over right now that, you know, I may situation dependent. So one other item, if you're wondering what's all in here, I have a truck EDC video where I cover everything in my truck. If you're interested in that, maybe I'll link it in a card above. But another thing I may add to my get home bag, depending on the situation, is bear spray. This is essentially just big bad pepper spray. Now, I'm not saying you should get this and use it on people because I'm pretty sure that's illegal. But in an SHTF scenario, if you need a non-lethal way to control a riot or some crowds of people, this is an option that I might use, but I'm certainly not telling you or advocating its use on people because I'm pretty sure it's illegal. But you know, just in case, maybe you could, or you could just have it for bears on your walk home. So that's something that might get added. Another thing I don't have currently in my get home bag is a big, gnarly, heavy duty flashlight that you can kind of use as a weapon. This might get added to my bag, you know, situation dependent. I could just buy another one and keep it in my bag all the time, but like I mentioned earlier, that might not be an option for everyone. I have an extra pair of sunglasses in here, some sunscreen, some tools. The tools are mostly redundant with stuff I have in my bag or on my person at all times. So that's not really something I'll probably add. Anything else from there? The other thing that you might want to keep in your bag or add to your bag is sunglasses, a hat, and then a pair of shoes. So I don't wear dress shoes. I'm always wearing kind of athletic shoes. So the shoes I'm wearing are always good to go for a hike, a walk, whatever. But if you are wearing dress shoes, you're gonna want to keep an extra pair of shoes in your car, in your bag, whatever. I have a tub. If you watch any of my truck videos, I have a tub. I have a winter tub and a summer tub. My winter tub has a pair of waterproof hiking boots that I could hike in if I needed to, and my summer tub has a pair of kind of more trail runner type shoes.
All right, so here's my bag. I'm filming it out in the dining room, so if you hear my dogs running around or playing or wrestling or barking, whatever, it is what it is. Sorry about that. So a get home bag, you know, there's not gonna be a perfect bag for everyone for every scenario. Even though I built this bag to my exact specifications, there's 100 different scenarios out there that could happen, and I'll wish I had built my bag differently depending on the scenario. So it's just, you know, my best guess at what kind of may happen out there, and that's as good as anyone can do. So with the get home bag, making a video especially about a get home bag, I'm just kind of opening myself up to comments of people saying, oh, you should add this, you should add this, or people saying, oh, you have way too much, you have way too much. And kind of, I think I probably have too much. Obviously, I have a 30-ish mile walk at the longest. So when you think of get home bag, you think of different scenarios. And in most scenarios, I'll be able to drive home, or I'll be able to drive some of the way home, or I'll be able to drive part of the way home. So most of the time, unless it's some EMP type event, I'll be able to drive some of the way. Granted, there may be roadblocks and stuff, but I'll be able to drive some of the way. So I may not have to do that whole 30 miles if I'm fortunate. Another thing to think about is if you do have to walk a long way, try and, you know, if you could swing by a Walmart or anything like that, you could just pick up a bike for $100 and that'll make probably your trip home way easier depending on what kind of terrain you have to travel. So that's kind of just some things to think about if you ever do need to get home. I'm not going to get too much into all of the different scenarios that could happen because they are vast. Some of them are kind of like more doomsday and some of them are kind of more standard scenarios. Now I have an AR on this bag. So this is kind of one of the reasons I like this bag, because you can attach stuff to the outside of the bag, whatever. You could do jackets or anything, but on mine, you can see obviously I have an AR pistol. Now, before you start getting crazy and be like, what do you need that? Oh, you're gonna be a target. Oh, you gotta be gray man. Oh, you got all these things. Yeah, I get that. And I'm really not planning to take this with me probably. I keep this whole bag in my car. I keep this in my bag just in case something happens, some crazy terrorist, some crazy Red Dawn thing, some crazy zombie thing, whatever. I don't ever see myself needing this or wanting even to carry this, but I have it there just in case, because I had some extra parts and I built it and I know the risks involved. So before you ever put something like this in your truck, just know that if you ever get it out, no matter what, you're gonna be a bad guy. Everybody else is gonna see you as a bad guy. The cops are gonna see you as a bad guy. Everyone is gonna see you as a bad guy. So if you get this out, even if you're trying to do good, even if you're trying to take down some jihadists or something, just know that you gotta be careful, because you get this puppy out, you're gonna look like a bad guy, and you gotta be really careful. So that's your own decision. If you wanna carry an AR, if you ever wanna get an AR out, I'm gonna leave that up to you. I'm not gonna get too far into it. If you want more details about my specific build, I'll link up here in a card or something. I have a video all about this gun. So whether you think the gun is a stupid idea or a great idea, whatever, this video is not really about that. I have it, I've explained it, and let's move on. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off the bag, kind of so you can see how it works. So there's this panel that kind of covers it. And if I ever did want to carry this, if I was in a scenario that I thought I would want to carry this, I'd probably just like toss a shirt or something on it to make it a little more inconspicuous. So I don't have a mag in here. I'm thinking about getting like a little 10 round or 20 round, something that's just a little bigger that would fit in here, because a 30 rounder wouldn't really fit. I have all my mags in the back of my truck next to this bag in case I need to grab them. So there's a couple little interior straps here, and then it's good to go. So we'll go ahead and remove this so you can see what's going on. This panel has some lashing points so you can add stuff here. These are movable, and that's how these side panels work. This bag is symmetrical, so you have the same thing going on the other side as well. And this kind of has this type of Molly. I think Molly or Alice can go in here. I don't have anything on here because I kind of like this bag because it's kind of urban, it's kind of low key, it's kind of gray man a little bit, although, you know, it does kind of look tactical. But has some features that I like, so you can put that stuff on the outside. And let's kind of start getting into the pack now. Actually, before we get into the pack, we'll go ahead and go over the rest of the exterior features. It's got this handle here, so you can carry it like a duffel. And it's got a bunch of points here that you can lash a bunch of stuff to. It has these two handles here that you can either put stuff through or carry it. It's kind of rubber coated. This isn't really a bag review, but you know, while we're here, we might as well. Oh, we got some like dust from the ground that it was sitting on. So we have a lower pouch here, and then like I said, the other side is the same. So on the back, this is a SOG pack, and it does have hip straps here. So these can fold in to this compartment, and you can hook them in. I'm not gonna do it because it's kind of a pain. You can undo these and then tuck them back behind here. If you wanted to check this on an airplane or something and not have all these dangly things, and then you can just carry it like a duffel. So that's basically the exterior of the pack. A lot of little points like this where you can lash stuff to, so that's nice. And yeah, that's basically it. Oops, I have a little whistle that I put here that must have fell off when I was doing all that stuff. All right, so the bottom of the pack has this little pouch, and all these zippers have these like hook things so you can grab them with gloves on or whatever. They're very easy to manipulate. I like that too. So this lower pouch, I have some wet ones for everything, you know, wipe your butt, clean your hands, whatever. I love these. You guys, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm big on keeping wet ones everywhere. So this is a balaclava, and in here, and balaclava is for a lot of things. If something crazy's going down and I don't really want my identity seen or something, or cold environments or whatever. Inside of here, I have some masks. So I have 4 masks here total. 3 of these are kind of the cheaper N95 masks, well, kind of nicer N95 masks. And then I have one N100 mask as well. The N100 mask is my own, so I'm gonna get that nicer mask for myself. And if for some reason I need to hand out some extras to my friends or whatever, that is that. So 4 total, 1 for me, 3 for other people, because I like helping out other people when I can. And then I have a little first aid kit here. Like I mentioned earlier, hopefully, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this video, what order. I have other stuff in my car, in my truck at all times, and some of that stuff is gonna make its way into the bag, but if it doesn't, if I really just have to grab this bag and run, then this bag will have everything I need it to for the most part. And this is kind of a lighter first aid, but it's got a lot of stuff in here. It's got some tampons for those emergencies, but also for crazy nosebleeds. So my dad is on blood thinners, and he gets these nosebleeds that never stop. They just go crazy. And the doctor said if he gets a really, really bad one, he can shove some tampons up his nose because they'll expand and do essentially the same thing that would happen when they take him to the hospital. In here we have some nitrile gloves, all your standard stuff, burn, first aid. So this is kind of a first aid kit that I added to. So I added some anti-diarrhea pills and some moleskin. This is pretty important. If you're gonna be walking in shoes that you're not normally walking in or something, these will prevent blisters from forming. So you wanna put these on before those hot spots get too out of control. Moleskin, I would say, is probably one of the most important things to have in your pack. Now, when you have a get home bag, the idea is that you're not bugging out to the woods. You're just getting home. So my pack is a little bigger than most people's will be because, I'm kind of a gear junkie, and I said before I have a pretty far walk, and in some parts of the year in Colorado, the weather's pretty extreme, so my pack probably is a little beefier than most, but I'm really deep down of the mentality that your get home bag could just have maybe a couple snacks, and maybe some water, and that's basically it, and you'll get home. So defense and all the other fire making, all that kind of stuff is kind of a personal preference, but I would always opt for less is more because you want to be light and you want to be fast and you want to get home as fast as possible. So having said that, we'll get into all of the gear I have in mind, which is, a fair amount. So this I want to keep it in the frame here, but it's not easy. This is kind of not hard because you can really press it in, but pretty hard, and that's to protect stuff if you have fragile stuff in your pack. I don't really have fragile stuff, so this is just kind of my accessory compartment in here. There's some Velcro here if you want to put your morale patches or whatever, but I have mine, nothing on it, just nice and clean. So in this top section here, and it'll probably fall out if I lean it down like this. We'll just go ahead and do it anyway. So in here I have a headlamp. I'll link to all this stuff, as much of this stuff as I can, in the description below, because I hate it when I watch videos and people don't link to what they're freaking reviewing. So here, I have a little headlamp. I have Mechanics Fast Fit gloves, because if you're doing anything that requires, that you could potentially hurt or damage or cut your hands, you're gonna wanna wear gloves. These are lightweight, these are kind of my favorite. I use them for like 95% of my tasks. Here I have a little battery charger. This is, a little USB recharge your phone, because chances are you're gonna have some device that you wanna charge up or keep topped off. In here, also I have these are Cottonelle flushable wipes, but they're basically, wet ones. Here I have Post-it notes. So instead of like a pad, I opted for Post-it notes because you can peel them off and stick them places. They already have adhesive on them, so if you need to leave notes, if you need to leave a trail or whatever, Post-it notes, I like the idea of them. You don't see them in many people's get-home bags, but you see them in mine. I have a thing of chapstick. I have a small pack of gum because I want to keep things lightweight and I don't need a whole pack. I have a 5-hour energy. I keep another one of these in my car at all times, so a little bit of extra energy. I have a pair of headphones, in case I need them to listen to something discreetly, or earbuds rather. In here I have just a random AA flashlight, 2 Sharpies, I have a pair of scissors, I have a little thing of sunscreen, and this is like a little like dermatologist sample size. Sorry, the light's too bright. This is a little thing of sunscreen. I have a little thing of spray hand sanitizer. In here I have a handful of lithium AAA and AA's, and over here I have a bag of miscellaneous pill, Advils, and some Benadryl. And like I might have mentioned in my EDC bag video, which maybe I'll link to up here, I have an EDC bag and I have pills in there, and they're kind of like one of my most used items. So that's in here. Also in this compartment, there's this little like top Velcro area where it's kind of protective, where you can put your sunglasses or something. What I have here is an extra pair of socks, and then I have some cheap little, you know, these like 20-mile range radios. So I have some of those in there in that top section. All right, let's close this up. And now let's get into the pack. So this pack has access to the main compartment via, you can do these lower zippers if I want to access something in just from the side. And also, you can remove these if you need full access, which I'm going to do just so you can see in the pack easier. Or the pack does open up and you can essentially get into the pack without undoing these if you need to. But I'm just going to undo it all the way so you can see this guy opened up all the way. So in the top, which is just the other side of this, there's kind of a hidden compartment in here. In here I have a sweaty wad of cash. Cash is good in kind of a scenario like this where, you know, credit card machines may be down or whatever. I have a couple hundred in here. I also have, this is an old concealed carry permit I have just for identification in case I need it for some reason. I don't have my wallet or whatever. I want to have something saying, hey, I'm a good guy. So I have that in here. Also, this is a 5x7 multicam tarp if I need to build some kind of a shelter or something. And this is some keys that I have to just like a backup set of keys. So there are a couple other mesh pockets in here that I don't have anything in here. In here I have a little like bandana. And then here is kind of some more interesting stuff on the pack that I'll get into in a second here. So here I have it's called a spool tool. So this is not just 550, this is 750 paracord, so a little more durable. Spool tool is cool. I'm not going to do a whole review of it, but it holds a little mini Bic lighter, holds the tool. You can cut. There's a little razor blade on here. You can cut the paracord and you can melt the end and make a nice little tip. So spool tool, cool little thing. And we'll just kind of start pulling stuff out of the pack. So my choice for water, I also have a water bladder I'll get into in a second, is just this. This is the 1.5 liter smart water. And I like this because the lid works with the Sawyer water filter that I'll get to here later. So, and it's lightweight. The bottle is lighter than a stainless steel. It's lighter than a Nalgene, and it's easier to drink out of. Drinking out of a small top like this when you're on the move is much easier, assuming you're not drinking out of your Camelback. Having said that, it fits nicely in one of these mugs because it's about the same size as an Nalgene. So if I do need to melt snow, melt ice, whatever, I don't really have this for cooking because I think having cooking stuff and get home bags kind of stupid because you just want to get home as fast as possible. So I'll get to my food here. It's mostly bars. But this is for in case I'm stranded, in case I need to melt snow, whatever. This is kind of a more in-case item. I don't plan on using it, but I have it just in case. So that fits in there nice. And that's just my setup, you know? So I have a little other tool bag here. This is kind of following the prepper color code. So there's this guy named Urban Prepper who takes prepping very seriously, and he's very organized, and he's very, you know, he tries to keep things very uniform. So I think he's the one. I'm not sure. If somebody else developed the color code, I'm sorry. But I heard of it from Urban Prepper, and this kind of follows his color code. So not all the way, but this is black, and it's for me, that's tools. And in here, I don't really want to get all in here. I have zip ties, I have some duct tape, I have one of these little, it's kind of like a Slim Jim for doors in case I need to get into doors. I have a small little 4-inch crescent wrench. I have a small hacksaw, and I have a water key. Water key is important if you're in like urban environments. Getting water is much easier if you just unscrew one of the little faucets on the exterior of a building. And most of the time you'll need one of these keys to do that. So that's a pretty valuable item. And then I have some of these, this is a little pack of these like door shims that you use kind of like a credit card to get into doors, some doors. So that's my little tool bag that I have. This, for a true minimalist get homer, probably could do without everything in here. Duct tape's always kind of handy though, I think, and the water key is pretty handy as well. But you know, tools is it's kind of probably one of my heavier pouches, and I could probably go without it, but I'm gonna keep it in here just because I can. Here I have a fixed blade attached here. This is a SOG Seal Pup. Now I have another one of these that's all beat up, but this one is nice and new. It's just, I think a fixed blade is good. This is another item where I could probably go without it, but just in case I need to hunker down a little bit and, you know, build a shelter or whatever, having a fixed blade is good for that. All right, so this little guy is kind of cool. So it's a strap here that has all these attachment points basically that you can attach stuff to, and I have all of this attached to, and it buckles here at the top of the pack. So if I didn't have my pack opened all the way and I just could open it just real quick, but I wanted to get access to whatever, I kind of keep these in order from things I'll probably access to things I probably won't access at the bottom. But this whole thing is attached to this kind of like a leash basically, if you can see. So if the pack is just open a little bit, I can pull this all out the top. Sorry, it's kind of hard to demonstrate when it's laying on a table, but I can pull this all out of the top. So we'll just kind of get in to what I have in all these pouches. And maybe I'll just sit on the table here because that makes it a little easier. Don't have to move the camera. So all of these pouches have little hooks. They're not all the same brand. Some of these are mesh, some of these are some random pouches. I'll kind of link to most of these pouches in the description below. But these, for the most part, are trying to follow the prepper color code as much as possible. Green, I think, is food. So we have this little pouch. And for me, food means bars. It means things that I can eat on the move, that are fast, that have good calorie counts. So I have some Cliff bars in here. I have these. You've probably seen them in other videos. They're called these Millennial energy bars. They're kind of like a food bar, but I really like them. They're kind of hard, but they have like 400 calories and just, they're loaded with calories and they're easy to eat, and I like them. I think they're good. So I have a couple of those Millennium bars. I have some peanut butter, some little fruit leather guys, and then I have a couple packets of Gatorade powder in here. So that's what I got. That's what I'm going to use for food. And the thing for a get home bag kind of for me is this bag has a lot of extra space for me. If I'm going to be walking with multiple people, like I carpool to work usually with my brother, so we would be taking the trek. We could load this bag up. We could grab another bag. We have food at our office, or we could stop by somewhere and loot some store or buy food with the cash I have from some store if we wanted more food or water. So this is kind of like the bare minimum. And really, you can survive a long time without food, but food gives you energy, food boosts your morale. So I think having a little bit of food is good, even if you just have a relatively short walk home. So going down the list here, we have yellow, which is comms. I think it's comms anyway, or something like that. Signaling maybe. So I have a little radio, so just a little cheap battery powered AM FM radio in case I need to listen to what's going on out there. These are some little sticky LED light things that I've had forever. I have a compass in here. I have a whistle. And then I have a couple of chem light glow stick guys. So that's what I have in this pouch. And then in this pouch, I kind of have, it's kind of a random mixture, but mostly kind of hygiene type stuff. So here's some like camp soap things. They're just really just stupid light. They're kind of like those Listerine strips where you like get a strip out and add water and it kind of turns into soap. So that's nice. These are just some shop towels that I have. This is a space blanket. I have some earplugs in here. I have some trash bags and some Ziploc bags in here. And I also have one of these cheapy little ponchos. I have some toilet paper. And I'm not planning to bunker down, but in case I do, I kind of have the bare minimum. This is a SOL emergency 2-person bivvy. So kind of bridges the gap between just your space blanket type guy and an actual sleeping bag. So in a pinch, that will reflect some body heat back on me and hopefully keep me a little bit warm. So going on down the line, this is the fire kit. And mine's, I don't know. Guys with crazy fire kits will say, oh, it's not enough. And guys without fire kits will be like, oh, that's pretty extensive. So this is also for signaling. I put these in here because I can use them to start a fire if I need to. These are road flares. I like to put things in bags, inside of bags too. So this in here is some wet fire starter. I have 2 mini Bic lighters and I have some waterproof camp matches in here. And then this is one of those little S-bit stoves that uses those little solid fuel tabs. So I think I jammed 5 or 6 fuel tabs in here into this stove. Now this stove can be used in conjunction with this to melt snow or ice. You can see here I brought this in, but it's been pretty cold in Colorado and I've been parking outside, so this is actually some ice in here. So there may be a time when I would need to actually melt ice, though in a kind of urban, so I work in an urban environment, but I live kind of more in a rural environment. So I would be walking from urban more into rural, but water wouldn't really be hard to find from my personal trip home. Having said that, now we'll get into our water purification, and I don't have much in here. I have water tabs here. Now these specific tabs don't really have the directions on the tabs themselves, so I don't want all the other stuff because I want to keep things lightweight. So I just put 1 tab per 2 quarts. I just wrote that on there in Sharpie. That's a smart thing to do unless you're going to memorize that, which isn't hard, but when you got all this other stuff going on, you know, it might be hard to memorize. So this is the Sawyer water filter. So what it has and what I like is this. So this can screw on to the bag, and you can fill the bag with bad water and squeeze it into whatever good container you have. Or if you don't have time for that, you could fill this up, and this is why I like this water bottle, at a lake or whatever, and then this screws right on to this. So it'll screw onto any kind of like 2 liter, 1 liter type bottle. These Smart Waters have that same thread, and they're just a little more durable than the other waters I've found. So these pair well together, and that's why I have them. This kind of just goes back in here, and that's it. That's all I have for water purification. You may not even need water purification at all if you're in like a strictly urban environment. And so that's it on this little leash thing of pouches. And then the only other thing is I have a little Camelback bladder. I have this bladder empty because, like I said, if I need to fill up water before a long trek home, that's going to be easy to do. So I keep this bladder in here empty because I like a bladder. It's easy to drink out of, but I don't want this thing in here weighing me down. I don't want to be weighed down any more than I have to be. Because, you know, if something happens, SHTF scenario, and I can drive 90% of the way home and I only have like a 3-mile walk or something, I'm just going to grab this bag and not fill it up with water, obviously, and just walk home. So it's kind of, you build a bag for your somewhat worst case scenario, and if the scenario is not that bad, then obviously everything is easy and you just have too much gear and that's kind of a drag. But if you have a long trip, or if you run into some kind of bad scenario where you wish you would have had that gear, it's kind of better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I'm kind of that mentality, but I'm kind of the minimalist mentality too. But I figured I upgraded my bag. I have hip straps. If you don't know much about backpacking or anything, hip straps make all the difference. You can carry way more weight with hip straps than if you're just relying all on your shoulders. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I felt when I upgraded to a bag with hip straps, I could take on a little more weight if I needed to, and that's why I have the loadout that I do. So that's my get home bag. I hope it gave you some ideas to build your own get home bag. If there's some stuff that you think I'm missing, I've probably thought of it and it's not in here for a reason, but there's always a chance that I didn't think of it, and you could teach me something new, or you could give me an idea of something that I should have in here that I don't need. Some things, you know, a lot of people like to put stuff in their bag. They only put something in their bag if it has at least 3 uses or something like that. And that's cool, and I like that mentality, but sometimes there's gonna be things and you're gonna have to think about how to get 3 uses out of them. So I kind of have, you know, like Gatorade powder that has 1 use for me really, to drink. But other things in here have multiple uses. So some things, you know, have 2 purposes, and maybe you see something in my pack that you're like, oh, actually you have these 2 items, but this 1 item actually does both of those jobs, and that would save this much weight and that much space. Recommend it to me. I love to hear your guys' ideas on all that kind of stuff. So anyways, yeah. All right, well, you don't see my face, but that's it for this episode of whatever, Get Home Bags. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care. If you like this video at all, if you found it at all helpful, useful, entertaining, whatever, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you here. If you thought it was horrible, then, you know, you can thumbs down it too. Also, go ahead and follow my Instagram, Facebook. I post there. You know, I don't post too much, so I won't blow up your feed. But, you know, when I do post, it's pretty cool stuff, I think. And then there's some kind of like notification thing. You can like subscribe to get notified on YouTube. I'm not a YouTube power user, so I can't tell you exactly how to do it. But if you want to be notified of when I do new videos, do that thing, and then you can be the first to watch them. I'm usually more inclined to reply to comments and stuff like right when I post, because I'm kind of at a computer and stuff. So it's a good time to watch those videos. All right, well, this one was a long video. So thanks for sticking with me to the end. All right, take care.